Merry Christmas to all the crypto heathens of the world. In today's video, I have tidings of good news. Tidings of good news for many of the crypto degens out there of this world, focusing on altcoins. Of course, we'll do a little bit of Bitcoin analysis as well. Of course, because it is, well, Christmas, holidays, whatever you want to call it. We do have a sale going on. Very quiet sale right now. The code is Elsa in all capitals because it's actually her birthday on the 26th. And you can get 20% off of any one of the programs or services in the Teachable School in the link in the description below. Not only that, but the Quant Prime service, which allows you to create, test, and automate your trades, which we'll actually show a couple from a little bit later, is 25% off for the lifetime of the subscription, which is the biggest discount that we do. All right, let's start off with the fun stuff. Bitcoin, it's like it's so ingrained in my mind that I can't think of anything else. Bitcoin dominance here, which is a chart that I'm not a humongous fan of, but it has signaled something incredibly powerful here. We are seeing confirmation of a macro trend reversal as of last night's closure. We have a lower low and a lower high after being in essentially a major uptrend since November of 2022. So this is the first major reversal that we've actually seen on the higher term timeframes. And I do expect that this one will follow through, or at least come back down to the lows that we did see from earlier on in this month in December. And that likely correlates to altcoins doing at least better than Bitcoin. Again, this has no relationship to the US dollar valuations. It's just altcoins versus Bitcoin. And of course, I always want to say, whenever we're talking about Bitcoin dominance, it's more of an engagement tool, to be honest. But whenever we're talking about Bitcoin dominance, it's really what you should be looking at is your favorite shitcoin versus Bitcoin, because that's going to be a more direct chart, of course. But this is indicating that if you do have some favorite shitcoins, it's time to be checking them out, because if they are good, they're going to likely do very, very well over these next few weeks here. Of course, we do have not just a confirmation of that lower low and lower high, but also hidden bearish divergence right here on the daily time frame. Actually, 3 drives coming off these last couple highs here from the high, or connected, anchored to this first high above 61%. Connected with these highs over here. On top of that, we're seeing the daily jewel turn down as well, and we are seeing volatility go into a contraction phase after getting the double extremes right here. So, that is, that's about as classic of a signal as you're going to get. On top of that, if I go over here to our stochastic momentum charts, we can see, if we go to a higher term time frame, let's start actually on a monthly I'm on the wrong damn thing. Thought that looked weird. There we go. Monthly stochastic momentum is coming down. It will be testing the top side of the critical zone for the first time in a very long time. It's been spending the last 5 months, 6 months since July in the critical zone, now potentially going to come back down below, which is a big signal for myself as well. That's actually where the last mega rally began, back on over here, February 2020, which was essentially this high. And of course, this will be remaining with downside pressure as long as Bitcoin dominance is below about 59.95, or let's just call it 60%. Right now, trading, healthily below there, let's say. On top of that, if we go to the 2-week time frame, already leading it in, as you can see, again, that momentum pivot a little bit higher. Weekly time frame, same shit as well here. 58.71 is the magical number. 5-day time frame also, although you're probably going to get a flippy floppy here relatively soon, but again, 55.50 is the magical number, and the daily time frame is nosediving. So the 5 days kind of a bit of an odd man out right there. I expect that it might equate to some sideways, but ultimately this is poised to come back down, at least retest this low over here that we did see from, again, early December, and perhaps even make lower lows. Now, I want to again be on the record that saying exactly what I have been saying for the last few months with altcoins or alt season. I don't think that you're going to be getting just you. No, I don't think that altcoins are going to be getting that just like generically applied alt season, massive rallies, with massive macro moves to new all-time highs just across the board. Not all of them. It's not 2017 anymore. And even 2021 wasn't actually exactly like that. I mean, yes, there was a pretty wide market rally, yes, but most things did not make new highs, actually. And in this case, I suspect that the ones that have already been acting strong, which strong as defined right now should be uptrend versus its Bitcoin pair, because obviously you want to see that there, should be there. And then 2, versus its US dollar pair, it should be either retesting prior all-time highs or making new all-time highs. The strong ones are already doing that, and they're very likely going to continue to remain strong here, at least versus Bitcoin. So of course, that could also mean, Bitcoin comes down versus US dollar valuation, and then alts also come down, but maybe just not as much. Now, I think that's a little bit less likely. I do think that Bitcoin and alts are probably poised for a bit of a bounce here after a pretty nasty last week. But yeah, anyways, if you do find this content valuable, or if you find it entertaining, or I don't know, for any reason at all, please consider subscribing. We're very, very close to 200,000 subscribers. And of course, it's more importantly, it actually gets those videos into you each and every day, because I do these every day because it's my fucking, it's my ritual. No, it's my OCD. and of course, if you're interested in that, check out the channel. But yeah, that's Bitcoin dominance there. Again, just a big sort of, Christmas warning that, look, it is really time, at least in my opinion, to be looking for strong alts. The strong alts should be rather obvious, as we went over the conditions for that. And yeah, that's that. Anyways, moving on now, let's get into some Bitcoin price action. Bitcoin right here, I'm still looking at the same thing as before over the last few days, basically since Friday, where Bitcoin hit this major low, playing out yet again another iteration in this pattern that's been going on since middle of November. These sort of like week-long or 7 to 8 day long phases of general grind up, followed by 4-ish to 5-ish days of downside price action. We've seen yet another one of these cycles over here. And of course, the upside cycle did begin on, from Friday's low. And we typically expect that to take, about 7 to 8 days. So that would put us at the high of this next rally, probably somewhere around Saturday, give or take. Doesn't need to be exact. In fact, it probably will very unlikely be exact. But between now and Saturday, I'm still looking for Bitcoin to kind of bounce a little bit higher. Than it currently has. Can it retest these lows over here? I mean, obviously it already pretty much has, but it could do it again if it wants. Completely fine. Ultimately, until we get to Saturday, I would say it's still more likely to bounce here. Of course, if we go over to our other charts right here, we do expect to see potential for some hidden bullish divergence, which, let me actually see, what I really see is like a massive jewel sell signal right there. Maybe I should have caught that one earlier. But yes, there is going to be potential for hidden bullish divergence on the 2-day time frame if it can confirm a local low, essentially right here. And it will confirm a local low if it trades back above the last 2-day high, which was 97,400. If you see that, then Bitcoin very likely does amount for a bounce. But just as I do have in this little sketch right here, or yes, this one right here, this bounce is, at least in my opinion, very, 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 very critical, because Bitcoin has made a lower low on the daily here. Marking its first lower low since essentially the rally began in November of this year. Well, that does, just like the Bitcoin dominance chart, have the potential to produce and confirm a real reversal. Now, the Bitcoin dominance chart obviously already has, that lower low and lower high. Let me just show right here. Boom, lower low and lower high. Bitcoin itself does not have the lower high just yet. It does have a lower low. So it's a potential for reversal here. And that is why I am going to be defensive on any sort of a rally, especially a rally that brings price back anywhere between these two major fibs right here, 102 to about 104.5 or so. Anywhere between there, that would be like your classic bull trap region before getting ready for the, I think probably final push down, somewhere maybe around 85,000 bucks. That's also the 50% retracement from the beginning of this rally, which was November, to the current all-time high. And then of course that also does match up, I believe, with our HPDR weekly median right here as well. Or that's actually slightly higher right now. So maybe it's more like 88,000 bucks. But ultimately, I do suspect that Bitcoin probably will test that region. But if Bitcoin bounces first, and plays out a move like this, what's that going to mean for altcoins? It's going to mean that altcoins are generally going to have, again, the strong ones are going to have really powerful rallies, around those prior highs, likely making new highs. I've seen a couple already that are pretty much already at all-time highs, or literally making new all-time highs, that are not super new coins. So those I suspect will be big winners. The rest of the shitcoins, they'll probably get rallies, but they're not going to be like the major ones that I think a lot of people are looking for. They're not going to be macro reversals or nothing like that. It's just going to be another rally into another lower high, thus leading towards long-term continuation. Anyways, let me make sure that I've gotten everything over here. Yes, okay, we've got that. All right. Let's move on to the last couple things. So I did want to follow up again on the 5-day setup right here. Again, this is using that Quant Prime tool over here to do the back testing for this and just strategy creation. This strategy primarily focused on grabbing onto the very long trending trades, those major trending trades that we see for Bitcoin. For example, this last one fired off at 62,800. It's technically still open right now, but tomorrow night, the 5-day time frame will close, and this epic trade might very well be actually done if Bitcoin does close below 96,400. So, a lot can happen within about a day and a half, but, it was a pretty damn good one. So if you've been following this trade, again, the 5-day 5 exponential moving average strategy, very fucking simple one, but also very, very powerful. You're about to get the closing signal in, 30 hours. Yeah, about 30 hours. 40 hours. I apologize, 40 hours. Anyways, this one has been working as designed. It has actually caught all 3 of 3 major moves, like all 3 of 3 tremendous moves that we've seen over the last 2 years. One of them was from October 2023 to January 2024 right here. That getting the trade from 28,000 all the way up to actually a high of like 50,000. Not bad. This one over here fired off as well in late January of this year, 2024, and then closed, of course, in April, opening at about 43,000 bucks and closing at 68 or 69,000 bucks. Obviously, Bitcoin did trade higher than that at a point, and then getting this one over here as well. It does appear. So why am I bringing this up? In hindsight, for people, obviously for people who have been following this when we actually call it out in real time, but the reason why I bring this one up now is that if Bitcoin does fail below this tomorrow, so again, closing tomorrow's daily below 96,400, that closes this up, and I will not be looking for any sort of major upside move as long as Bitcoin is below that red 5 exponential moving average on the 5-day time frame. There's just no threat of any one of these major massive trending moves to the upside. There's more likely to be, sideways price action right here. Now, we have seen in the past, some, I guess, relatively not bad corrections from a major trade closing to the next one. In fact, we have a great example right here in October of 2023. We got basically 2 in a row. But even then, waiting until Bitcoin reclaimed that 5 exponential was, in hindsight, a fucking phenomenal do, as we did see Bitcoin, do another 50% move right here. Of course, it could very well be that we get a lot of these, small losses for very, very short-term trades. Very possible there. But again, my main message is that I just wouldn't be even entertaining the possibility of Bitcoin doing the fucking bazooka as long as it's below there. Now, if Bitcoin does reclaim it, okay, there's always potential. Of course, I'd like to check some other things out as well, but that'd be like the first major green light. So, assuming that Bitcoin again does close below 96,450 tomorrow night, which, it's a long way left, it's a long way between now and then, but assuming that does happen, I do expect that this correction phase will go on for quite some time. And even if there is a bounce, like I said, between 100 to 104, something like that. That's a great place. That's a great place for a lower high for this asset. So yeah, that's where we'll end things for today. A nice and short and sweet one for the holidays. Guess what else it got me? She got me a box of spiders as usual because she has no imagination, but that's okay. I still love her, my little Elsa bird, and hopefully you are having a nice Christmas day with all of your beloved friends and family, or I don't know, maybe you want to hang out with homeless people on Christmas Day. That's cool too. One time in college, my best friend in college was a little bit fucking crazy. And one time there were these homeless people just walking around outside, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to come hang out?" It's like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?" And we actually hung out with them for a while. And well, they tried to start a fire in our place, but other than that, they were pretty cool. So we'll end things right there. Have a nice Christmas day, whoever you might be celebrating with. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.